Hello. My guest today comes from a family with strong music and theatre traditions. They link the kingdoms of Kerry and Mourne. At one stage, he may have become an inter-county footballer, but while his feet led him in one direction, his heart is firmly rooted in the music of Ireland. Currently living in Brussels with his wife and son, he's successfully auditioned to be a member of the Brussels opera La Monnaie. That was just before lockdown. Having performed locally with groups in his home village of Rostrevor, he's taken part in school shows with the Bosco, with Newry Musical Society. But for Páidí Ó Dubháin, it all began in a small primary school nestled in the foothills of the Mournes on the shoreline of Carlingford Lough.
Cologne School is where it all started for me. My mum and I'm sure you heard of Leo Murphy, who played for Down in the
Yeah.
60s. Leo was a very intelligent man. He was always very helpful and wanted the arts to be dul chun cinn, to be put forward. And Mummy was given that freedom to express what she wanted through the students, and she ended up writing a few drama. So this is Irish language drama.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, with a combination of Leo, who trained a lot of footballers in the school, to one of Mummy's operas, Mozart and Errands, who's also written a book about it recently. Leopold Mozart was played by the winning captain of the Down minor team in 2005, James Colgan.
That I met in the county Down.
Cologne School was, it was so enriching for all the students. And I'd say if you went through the history of who was there when I was there, the amount of students that have gone on to forge music careers and say successful Gaelic football careers because of Leo is, it's no coincidence.
You talk about that quite naturally, but as a primary school student, you maybe didn't have that perception of what they were giving you and what they were offering you.
No idea, Declan. In the orchestra, I remember playing percussion and thinking I was useless. But just the idea of hitting the triangle, made you feel part of something. And I only started playing musical instruments when I was a lot older. You don't really understand what you're immersed in until maybe 10 years later, a lot later. Some people still don't know.
You must have been immersed in that within the family situation as well, though, Páidí.
Yeah, well, I said my daddy he's a Kerry. He's from Kerry, and he's a native Irish speaker. And I was brought up with Irish at the very start of my life. At one stage, Mummy took me to the nurse, and she said, "Look, he hasn't spoken anything." And I was maybe a year and a half at the time, and the manager said to Mummy, "Look here, you need to pick one language," and they stuck with English. So I'd say I was probably halfway through processing everything that my dad was telling me, and I never got to. It never came to fruition, let's say, from him. But anyway, I ended up learning Irish later in my life.
So when you left primary school, went on to the second level education, you had a balance there, I suppose, between football and music and football. Which way did it fall?
My dad always says I was the best left-footed forward never to play for Rostrevor. Do you know what? I just loved football so much. I used to watch the Kerry's golden years, and I used to cry when Kerry lost. I remember watching Kerry playing in '96 against Mayo in the semi-final, and I was distraught when they lost.
So when you went from primary school on to St. Coleman's, opportunities there to take part in music and in school shows?
The St. Coleman's did a show every other year, and my first show was as Clementina, the Spanish prostitute. after that, I did Viva Mexico, Pablo and Pepe. It was the summer after Sean Hollywood had passed away, unfortunately. And I remember being in the Gaeltacht in not Rostrevor, sorry, Lough, and there was probably about 10 boys. We were all taken out and told as a group, your teacher, Sean Hollywood, has just died. We'd just like to pass the news on. And I was really hit by it. And yeah, Viva Mexico then was the first show that the school did without that massive hole that Sean left behind. Yeah, I was Pepe in the Pablo and Pepe comedy duo, and I think was it Declan stood in, and Declan was brilliant. You know, he's such a character. And then my final show was Fiddler on the Roof. I played Laser Wolf. Music in St. Coleman's went way beyond. For me, it was my friends. I had a lot of very musical friends who I started in a band with and listened to, shared music with, and I mean, I remember listening to the Beatles, the White Album, with Matthew Benson every day for years.
Fiddler on the Roof is a powerful show as well, and you know, a show of epic proportions. It was the one show actually I was in with the Musical Society, and Sam Russell played Tevier in it, and Sam just was born to play Tevier in Fiddler on the Roof.
Sam, I never knew him in his heyday, obviously, because I wasn't born in the 70s. But Mummy took him out of retirement to do the Rose, and he played the old man in the Rose. My memories of him were just that he was just a lovely man, and he just owned the part. Mummy actually wrote the part for him. She met up with him in the Arts Centre and proposed this part for him, and Sam turned it down, and Mummy pestered him and pestered him and pestered him until he said, "Look, Siobhan, okay, I'll do it."
Uh-huh.
And the song he sang, which was about, you know, it's obviously metaphorical, dying and going to heaven. In the dusk, I hear the night wind blowing, distant murmurs echo in the air. But the final message of the song is, "As I walk, I do not fear the threshold, for I know you are with me." And it always hit me.
Yeah.
You know.
You were saying that sort of part of Fiddler on the Roof repertoire is something a baritone carries with them.
Yeah. Oh, Fiddler on the Roof. It's a staple. If I were a rich man, diddle 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 dig. It's any baritone, any young baritone has to learn it. It's got a great range of. I think it's in C major, so you only it goes up to an F, I think. It's, you know, it's not particularly high, but it's bold and boisterous.
Yes,
and, you know, it needs character. You know, as you know.
Did you get to see many shows when you were in London?
When I was in London, I auditioned for NI Opera's Young Artist Scheme, and I was successful. So they gave me whatever opera I wanted to go to see, and they would get the ticket for me. So I saw a lot of things in Covent Garden for that year, which was my second year in Guildhall. The first year, I remember I joined a little club for off the beaten track type things, or things that weren't selling well. So yeah, I saw something every second weekend. So
how did you end up in Brussels then?
So I finished my masters, and I had the choice of staying in London, but I moved over here, and my wife had been working in the European Commission for a few years, and she's still working here, obviously. So I moved here with the idea. I always had Irish music in the back of my mind, that was where I would always go to. That was my I'm not going to say my forte, because, you know, I just love it. I just know that I love it, and not nobody, but with regards to London and being in a conservatoire where you don't see too many people that would be wanting to sing a Shannon song. Or
it's very true.
In Brussels, then I came across the two lads. I don't know if Celticanto fellas came across as a bit too, I just happened upon them. I joined a few groups here and there to try to. I had the idea in my head, and I knew it was going to go back to my mum, because I know my mum is. She's a genius. She'd do anything. If you ask her to do something and tell her this is what I have, she'll get back to you half a day later with something extraordinary. So I knew I had this bard, what you want to call her, at my disposal, and I got my friend Mark. I call them friends now. They're very good friends, best friends, and Jean. After that, and then I contacted Mummy and I said, "Mummy, look, I've got two great singers here, and you need to hear them." So we sang something that I think that had already been done before, and we harmonized, and Mummy heard the voices, and she came up with a few ideas and got back to us with Oro Shiravahawalia, Will You Go Lassie Go, songs like that. Songs in Irish and in English.
Town in the county down one morning in July. Down a bowling green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing elf, I shook myself to be sure I was really there. From Bantry Bay and from Galway to Dublin, all the way to Dublin, no mate have I seen like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down.
That led to tours and touring around European capitals.
Yeah, we did a bit of touring. We went to Paris and we went to Rome, but it was largely sort of focusing on embassies, really, because it was niche.
Yeah,
it was Celtic music, and it was but as I said, niche. It was what I wanted to do. I can't reiterate enough how important it is to have the same. It takes so long to get that the sound, the nucleus of that sound is. It takes so long to fine tune, really.
So you're still involved in music, and you teach music out in Brussels.
Yeah, well, when I moved to Brussels, I took up a PhD, and that would have been 2013, studying Irish art song, and specifically Irish art song for baritone. It's a very underperformed, underappreciated music. There's so much of it out there. When Ireland gained their independence in 1921-22, there was a radio station, 2RN, which was the only platform that musicians or any sort of entertainment had in Ireland. There obviously wasn't any television, so if anyone that performed on 2RN was a star. There's loads of music that to this day has only been performed once on the radio, and that was part of my research, was to try to unearth it and perform it. So I did 3 1 hour long recitals, and I said to this day I still try to learn the repertoire. There's so much of it. I'll never get through it. That's the beauty of music.
Before there was Celticanto, you were involved in a small boy band at one stage, I remember. In the opening of Act 2 of Sleeping Beauty, yourself and Damien and Anthony came on as a pseudo boy band to kick off the opening of Act 2.
Was it Elvis? Didn't Charlie come on at the very end of it, like Move Over Boys, and finished it?
You're right. It was.
Is that right? Is
Elvis number. It was an Elvis number. You're right.
I remember because somebody made a CD for me of all the songs in the Panto. So it was that Elvis song, which was a good one, but it also had Dancing Queen ABBA and all of the teeny bobber tunes of the time.
Yeah.
And I left the CD in some house party.
Some party.
Well, I was gone and they put the CD on. What does Páidí Ó Dubháin listen to?
Very good. Very good.
Love to be a fly on that wall.
How did Charlie hook you into the panto?
I really haven't a clue. I did Jesus Christ Superstar that summer
With the Bosco?
with Bosco, and there must have been some connection there with Bosco and the Panto. After the Panto, I did Newry Musical Society as well. It was a really intense 7 or 8 months where I did 3 shows back to back. So I did Judas, the Prince, and then one of the comedy characters in
It was in the Merry Widow.
The Merry Widow. That's it. Yeah, the Merry Widow. Yeah.
Yes. Coming out of lockdown, what would be your ambition, and how would you want to celebrate freedom and theatres being full again?
I successfully auditioned for the opera in Brussels here, the La Monnaie, just before lockdown. So I did the audition in January, and I was supposed to be in an opera in June, and obviously the whole thing was cancelled. It was a Strauss opera. It's a chorus role, but it was a full-time chorus role, which is very difficult to get. You know, there'd be maybe 70 or 80 singers going for 2 parts, and they don't audition very often. So I'd like to think that once it all opens up again, that I'll get that opportunity to perform in the La Monnaie. And you never know, they might say, look here, I haven't heard you in 2 years, you're going to have to sing for us again. But and as well as that, I said, Declan, I really miss Celticanto and the boys, and just that freedom to express myself in a way that you can't with well, you can express yourself in opera, musical theatre, what have you, but I mean, my heart is in Ireland, you know, and I really to be able to sing Celticanto repertoire and just close my eyes and get lost in it is what it's all about, isn't it?
I see your mommy has up on her Facebook page that she's wondering will be anybody home to sing at the Easter ceremonies, but it's unlikely that that's going to be happening. It's getting a bit tight.
Yeah, I know. Mummy is just always dying to get in to play the organ, and I mean, the church is empty, but it doesn't stop her. She just loves getting to the organ. Mummy she's always wanting something to do. I should mention about Mummy's book though. She's done that Mozart and Erin. So she did a Keel drama called Mozart and Erin. You know, the one that I was telling you, the down footballers all were in. That's whole. And yes, it's a short. I'd say about 150 pages long. She hasn't got a publisher yet. So if you know any publishers, Declan, you know, send them my way, and I'll send them on to Mummy. Because it's a great book. It's about Mozart visiting Ireland.
There should be parts in there for everybody.
Oh yeah, it's full of humor. It's a great story. I mean, you'd want to read it. I don't want to be getting too into it, because then I'd be exposing the whole story, and no one will want to read the book.
Páidí, it's been really, really interesting to talk to you. I mean, the revealing background to Killowen Primary School is incredible. You know, that richness of nurturing culture and sport at such a young age, and where you've taken it to is incredible. I hope you get Celticanto back again, and
I hope so too. But can I just make a point, like that whole Killowen School thing? All it took was 2 people, my mother and Leo Murphy, to make such a difference, you know. And it's, you know, it just takes one person to change someone's life so much, you know. Where I am now, 100% my mother, obviously, and Leo Murphy. You know, Leo Murphy's imagination. He would read you the Iliad, and he would say an Agamemnon would be able to kick a football as high as, and you know, you'd be just picturing, oh my God, he must have been an incredible footballer.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.